We appreciate and we also mourn with the indigenous people for the genocide here in this land. New York, Long Island has always been a gathering and trading place for many of the indigenous people. Poetry Street and Poetry Street on the Road acknowledge that we are guests on this land. Here on Long Island, we are on the lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers, also the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, Montaukett, the Reckonwalk, the Maasai, the Haudenosaunee, and we acknowledge and respect the many indigenous people who live on this land and continue to make ongoing contributions. Again, welcome to Poetry Street. My name is Chip Wilford, and unfortunately, Maggie is not here today. She's in my home state of South Carolina enjoying herself. But today is beautiful already without me doing anything.
I sit here on my lounge chair.
Feet elevated, smoking drinks on a small table at my side, and look at that beautiful flower basket perfectly framed the bush.
I love
the way the light hits. Burst of light shines and illuminates intentions of great discoveries all around me. Because this is my world, and I find it fascinating. Thank you. See, that's what you get when you write a poem in the morning without your glasses, and you read it, and it's the words that you actually wrote are not on the paper, but you do it and you go with it anyway. Anyway, we have three wonderful features today. First up is going to be our founder, one of our founders, Bubbie Brown, and he is sitting here in the Riverhead Public Library, and we're so happy that he's here with us today. And I just want to remind everyone that the full bios of all three features are on our website, which is poetrystreetontheroad.com. Ladies and gentlemen, the Man of the Year for many years, one of our co-founders, along with Susan Dingle, who founded Poetry Street 8 years ago, because there was a need, right? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Bubbie Brown, Robert A. Bubbie Brown.
Thank you. It's amazing to me how Chip and Maggie can just pull these wonderful poets out of the air, and every month they have these magnificent features. And I am so blessed to be one of them. And I love poetry. I love doing it, and it's a gift of God, from God to me. And first of all, giving Him glory. The first thing I do is a poem. It's called "A Dream of Heaven." A dream of heaven. I had this dream about heaven, and a couple of you were up there, all decked out in your celestial robes, golden slippers. We all had a pair. You see, I was a new arrival, just came through the gate. Told St. Peter, I want to see the Father. He said, Bubbie, sit down, you got to wait. Totally in awe, but patient. I did as I was told, sat down on this comfortable divan, right next to the street of gold. But I spied somebody else I recognized, jumped straight up off that chair. There's got to be some kind of mistake. How did he get up in here? Last time that I saw that child, he was rifling garbage cans, picking up bottles beside the road with his nasty, filthy hands. Lord have mercy, there's another one. How in the world did she get through? That sister used to keep all the streets hot, especially the Circle and Peconic Avenue. I started feeling rather uneasy, not feeling quite so well. Had I been sent to the wrong place? Were those the gates to hell? Then some sense came to my head. The slippers, the golden street, the cherubims and seraphims, and I couldn't feel no heat. All of a sudden it hit me like a ton of bricks. I had been so spiritually cold. All I could see was outside of them. I couldn't see their souls. Just then I spied St. Peter walking back. His face had this sad frown. Then I really got uneasy. Would I be denied my golden crown? I started thinking up excuses for some of the wrongs that I had done. Then try to get St. Peter to intercede for me when I went before the Holy One. You see, you get your name in the Lamb's Book of Life. There are some things that God requires. And if you ever fall short, you spend your time in the devil's lake of fire. Just as St. Peter was about to announce my faith, I woke up in my bed. Crazy, frightening, confusing thoughts just racing through my head. Why was he wearing that sad frown? Had I really fallen short? Would I have been denied my golden crown? Had I lost my heavenly day in court? Now, every day I pray my soul's pure enough when it comes time to redeem. Because the next time I see St. Peter, just may not be a dream. You'll notice that in these readings, there's no form, there's no pattern, there's no theme. It's just scattered from everywhere. Whatever I pulled up that I thought would work, that's what you're going to hear. And some old, some new. But a friend of mine, Terry Muse, told me, when it comes to old poetry, say it anyhow, because no matter where you do it and how often you do it, it's going to be due to somebody. Gangs in America. So odd that panic comes to us, that fear invades our bones when crimes visit our neighborhoods, down the street from our homes. Can't we get used to violence and killing one another? Within this worldwide human family, it's been brother killing brother. Years ago, we heard of a gang doing stuff they weren't supposed to, giving policemen cowering in fear, lamented of Copper Nostra. Even today, my spine crinkles up and want a weapon in my hand at just the mention of the dreaded, the Heidi Ku Klux Klan. Misunderstood, yet still socially feared, looking for ignored people's answers, a gang was sought by the FBI, the National Black Panthers. Each historical ethnic presence has had to battle to try to pave their route to the promised home of the free and the elusive home of the brave. Now a brand new frightening threat has burst upon the scene. From the tiny republic of El Salvador, the dreaded MS-13. Maybe not a cure to the problem, but people have less reason to fight if they are all treated with dignity and what our Constitution says is right. Someday this nation must balance the books, give sanctions to those folk who are fleeing their nation for a better life here and not favoring the folk European. Maybe not a cure to the problem, but people have less reason to fight if they are treated with dignity and what the Constitution says is right. If history told the true story, giving all of us our just due, you may find a relative in your past belongs to a gang too. This next couple, it's old stuff. I wrote it several years ago. It was for a friend of mine who was attending a conference of abused women, and she wanted something written. And it's like, I go. It wasn't the missed birthdays, because I've gone through worse days. It was your callous ways. It wasn't your spending thrill with money meant for a bill. It was the constant fight uphill. It wasn't where you dropped your pants whenever you had the chance. It was your cans and my cans. It wasn't eating alone because you didn't come home. It was the irreverence you'd shown. It wasn't that you went out at night when I was in bed with an illness to fight. It was that you just didn't do what was right. It's because of me I'm leaving. It's a new life I'm conceiving. So save your phony grieving. I want the world to know I don't pay debts I don't owe. I go. And this is part of that same conference. My raised hand. There's something that we all must understand. What are my intentions when I raise my hand? So many times in society or in some TV news, a lady's been hurt by someone's raised hand from a mate they did not choose. It still escapes me. How can I call myself a man when I've done this hurting thing when I've landed my raised hand? A raised hand is not the only tool that's brutal when it's swung. A tool that cuts just like a knife is an evil, spitting tongue. Words that shrink an ego, make you feel less than what you are, last longer than the memory of the emotional damaging scar. But back to that raised hand, so crude and so violent, endured by so many voices afraid that remain frightened and silent. I wish I could wave a magic wand to swish that evil away, but silence can only ease the path for that excrement to stay. So use the balm of spiritual lotion as time will demand. Caress, pat, love someone, enjoy fruits from that raised hand. Still got time?
Yes. Two more be great.
Okay, two more. Water Bearer. Water Bearer was written, I think it was 2007 or something like that, when a cousin of my grandfather was a farmer. He was the first black farmer in Suffolk County. And back in the 50s and 60s, there was redlining done, and black people couldn't buy land in places that they wanted to. And he started selling off plots of land here in Riverhead to make one of the first good black communities. His name was Fletcher Booker, and that it's like 70 homes are now sitting on Fletcher Booker's land on Northfield Turnpike and Dr. Square in Riverhead. And when they had the dedication as a historical site, they asked me to do a poem. So I wrote this Water Bearer. Surrounded by deep water, but not allowed to drink, while others all around me, cups filled up to the brink. Please let me buy a sip or two. My children's throats are dry. Just a little bath for their lips, so they will cease to cry. I'll labor in your farms and fields. I'll sweat till puddles fall. I'll pick and hoe and plow and reap till evening since early morn. But wait, I heard a rumor that a water bearer is in town, who has his own deep well, I hear, and is sharing it all around. Sparsely scattered round about, peer closely, you will see. A few folk have their own water, a few who look like me. No need to go with hat in hand to beg and get turned down. Thank God for this heaven-sent man for coming to this town. His gentle nature and kindness, his social awareness help. Let him dole out his waters for goodness and not for wealth. A lesson is to be learned here, that is when others thirst, share that sip with all mankind or suffer for the worst. To share your gift with those in need or with those who can't attain will earn you blessings from above, and all of us will gain. He shared his precious banner, divided it into places. Parched throats finally have been soothed by the water bearer's oasis. His name may not be seen or etched in the annals of history, but the doors of time have now been opened to uncover the mystery. Right here where you are sitting, stand up and look around. This place, this zone, this community was Fletcher Booker's ground. And to wind up, inherent poetry, inherent paranoia. How dare all of us stand here, chest poked out with pride? Are we really all of that? Self-righteousness on our side. Do I deserve all that I have? Did I pay all of my dues? Just whose steps am I walking in? Am I walking in borrowed shoes? This land where sits my humble home, where I sleep each night in peace, historically earned or stolen from a relative of Cochise. Damn right I've earned and suffered for, after hundreds of years of slave, to demand my piece of the land of the free and the home of the brave. I've read and otherwise heard about Black history not taught in school. It was not a myth, but a broken promise of 40 acres and a mule. 400,000 acres of land from Charleston, South Carolina, to the St. Charles River on Florida's coast may as well have been in China. Was given to ex-slaves who fought in the war, land once called a plantation, given to those who had worked the land, then fought to save the nation. Inherent paranoia, like blood it flows, in the promises that were broken, that were spoken, to build up hope in downtrodden folk, then shatter those dreams when broken. So hard, so wrong, so difficult to balance wrong and right, when the scales of justice are balanced by being brown, black, red, yellow, or white. Our Brittany Griner continues confined in a communist Russian jail. That pesky germ invades my mind, that inherent paranoia prevails. That pesky paranoia screams to me. If her name were Mia Hamm, she'd be standing free to occupy space right now where you and I am. How different would the outcome be? How would our government react if those sick and traitorous rioters, if those Proud Boys were Black? There'd be a different story told. There'd be so much more drama if January 6th was led by a man whose name was Barack Obama. This inherent paranoia that lives deep down within my soul is not a useless infection. It plays a useful role. It's taught me that the media and what it puts before me, read, watch, listen, and turn it over. There's another side to the story. Other side says our children's children will learn or hear of hope of how they lost some of their rights because we refused to vote. Inherent paranoia, a mental infestation that soils our soul as it gets passed on from generation to generation.
Let's give Bubbie another round of applause. One thing for sure, when you get Bubbie, you are going to get the truth. Bubbie Brown is Riverhead's favorite poet and consistent activist for social causes on the North Fork and beyond. He implements and supports writing and social programs in Riverhead schools and excels in finding young poets to join our poetry community. And for that, Bubbie, we are so grateful. And thank you so much for all that you do, especially for all that you do for me. I appreciate you and thank you. So our next poet is Tom Oleszczuk. I still messed it up, but he's going to correct me when he comes up here because he has more practice than me. Okay, well, Tom is a former college professor and administrator. He's a published poet in journals and online coast to coast and editors. Bars Annual and Performance Poets Association Literary Review, among others. His current project is Blue on Blue, a book of poems about the East End. I want to get that one. Tom has hosted readings in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Sag Harbor, and lives in Nyack, New York, with his wife poet Heidi, who you'll see soon. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Tom.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to correct something in the bio. I am not the editor of all those journals. That parenthetic expression belonged a little further in the sentence where it has published it, right? Anyway, thank you, and thank you, Bubbie. That was, tremendous, beginning, and I know I personally wished you had come at the end because you're a tough act to follow. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to be reading mostly from a chapbook in this time of mass distress, which consists of poems that I wrote during the worst times of COVID, and then finish up with a couple from a new chapbook that's coming out called Back Roads. This chapbook, actually both chapbooks are part of the Walt Whitman House series called The Gift of Poetry, which is a wonderful, wonderful deal. Anyway, I'd like to start with For George Floyd from all of us. Each day, another town, hundreds, thousands, young, old, black, white, brown, yellow, red, signs held high, chants echoing off shop windows, shoes and sandals resound on the street. He is no more. All down on stomachs, hands behind as if tied, pleas in unison. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. March back to park under eyes of a few in police uniforms from here and from towns an hour away. We cannot have more knees on necks. We walk, we chant, we raise our fists. Black lives matter. Age of anger, dark soul at center near a river of division, agitating, dark spirit, burning everything around us. The orange one, the face of this age of rage. Too much pent up for a century and a half. Too many blind eyes and wink nods. Too many dead on trees, in vans with sirens, rooms with bars. Too many children pulling back lips to snarl at now ex-friends of another shade. Men with rifles over shoulders. Women with cell phones dialing 911. Leaders shouting down voters, even after judges throw out their papers. Words hollowed out in public, alternate reality taken, ethics wisping away. We've a long road to travel, every foot a pothole, occasional acid rain, each headline a fist to the heart. We must start. We must haul our backpacks, laden with sandwiches and water bottles, hiking together forward. And then on a slightly different note, nature over man. It started with a whisper. In the early evening heat, the windows are open. I hear the wind, a soft longing in our trees, then stronger. The arms twisting now in a dance of rejection. Rasping, leaves fly, branches crack, fiercer, louder. One limb finally surrenders down onto the wires, then completes its descent. Lights out, TV out, internet out. Wind wraps around, wrapping its own rhyme and rhythm. Luckily, I have a cell phone. My call, not so lucky, with an hour's wait. Worse at the help desk with a 2-day visit. Well, off the grid for a while. Outside the news cycle. Just books while the sun shines. Candlelit dinners. Early bed. A different world. A different pace. The same place. Ma, she's been gone for 20 years. Visits every so often in dreams, prepping chicken pieces for baking, crying at the table, hunched over her journal, writing. I don't have to leave for an hour to catch a train for a day-long return. She and I can talk for a little while longer. To Maggie, not our Maggie here, as you'll see. Okay. She had soft fur, a softer purr, a calico. Her ginger brother tormented her, even as hand-sized kittens. They joined our older cats as lowest on the totem, especially she. Yet a decade of last place turned when the elder female was laid to rest. She began to cling to my chest as I lay on the sofa and on my wife's shoulder too. She often melded into a gentle lullaby. Alas, the years went by. Food doesn't stay, slow starvation. Best to sleep, dear cat. Best to weep. Let's see here. Okay. My old car. Close the door, it rattles. Open a window, it squeaks. Start it up, idiot lights flash. One may stay on. Tires need air every few weeks. Driving along, sun glares on a 12-year-old windshield. Faster swooshing of low-hanging undercarriage. Change fluids quarterly, more and more dollars. It does get good mileage, electric while cruising. Lots of trips under its belt. Lots of memories of rides to the city. Scrapes on back fender, still proudly smile. It may make it to 200,000. Okay, two more? Okay, alrighty. So, all right. From the forthcoming chapbook, which is entitled Back Roads, and I'll read you two poems. One is Back Roads. Curve upon curve, trees, fields, meadows, an 8-sided red at a crossroads. A car or two, a pickup or a van at a mild pace, no hurry. Braking once or twice for a deer or possum or feathered gobbler. Back and forth, south and north, jigsaw edge to another route. 2 lanes, yellow line curving. Back roads, they get you to where you're going. Okay, and then, I was going to read Clover Beach, but I'm going to read Just a City Boy instead. Okay. City boy, I'm just a city boy. From an urban Victorian to a forested ranch, 2 blocks to Subway. Now, half-hour walk to town. City boy, just a city boy. winter colds to ticked lime, doctors at every corner to a 7-mile drive, daily cough syrup, window tree leaves whispering, city boy, hyper-fast cars, snarled waiting, curvy back roads, scarcely a car in sight, just a city boy, plastic ham sandwiches to rich greens and fresh air, city boy, crowds of strangers to knots of neighbors, nodding as one passes, sky dark with fumes to blueness, bright with promise, metallic water, rain threatening to clear bays, misty rain, from sirens and police to birds' greetings, silent deer, decaying sidewalks to roadsides, through farms and forests. City boy, a city boy no more. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Now, Tom is married to this wonderful lady, and I know them very, very well. In fact, I met them yesterday on Zoom. I met them at a multicultural solidarity session, friendship circle, and it was amazing. There's some wonderful people. Heidi Rain, who's our next poet, has been writing poetry since age 8. Sometimes just to know what she's feeling, and other times because she's full of feelings that she just has to re-express. She has published several chapbooks, and for 8 years co-hosts a poetry reading at the Moroccan Star on Court Street in Brooklyn. Heidi is completing her first of a 3-part memoir entitled Touch. Ladies and gentlemen, Heidi Rain. And by the way, all the features are going to come back and do one more encore after the open mic. And if you on Zoom land want to sign up for the open mic, just send a message to Claire. And for those of you in the room, just sign the sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, Heidi Rain. Thank you.
Hello, I'm really glad to be here in Riverhead. This looks like a wonderful reading. And as I said, I was a host of a reading for 8 years, and that's when I met Tom, who later became the host of the reading. So it's a real pleasure. Thank you. Autumn. Even spring can't compare with fall's deep, dense beauty, as wet trunks of autumn flare up and stand bare, where a denuded tree stands out in stark contrast to Jet's brilliant, bright blossoming and wind-blown glow. Neither can buddings of spring bear contrast to blankets of rainbow leaves lining the ground, as what was above is below, once removed perhaps, traces less stunning, strewn and stomped all around. The beauty so solemn of this autumn day, skies padded with gray clouds, grass strewn with brown leaves, as gulls go parading with ducks on the lawn, still deep green, rich, fertile, and trees shed their glow, golden and crimson, bronze and deep rust, leaving their trunks to protrude with great dignity. Ducks swim in puddles now, seeds turn to dust. I came out here with a plan for a bunch of chapbooks, and with Tom's good help, computer, I finally got to put my poems in chapbooks. So I have 4 poems I wrote 20 and 30 years ago, but they're all here. The good ones, I hope. Circling birds. Before plunging back into darkness, the subway ride underground to Manhattan, I lift up my eyes for a last glimpse of Brooklyn. This day, by daylight, I catch the indecipherable swirl of circling birds. This is the title poem of another chapbook about cats called Gentle Bones. The year my cat died, Her 18 years stretched tight to snap over, hardly there, lived on so thin, yet alive, gentle bones. How poems poured forth then. The shadows of sorrow left marks on the page that reflected its outline so clearly, black etched on white, cleansing itself from the muffled smooth grayness surrounding them years before, following, standing out, shaping a silhouette naked, the presence of someone alone on a mountain, the air thin, the clouds high, the breathing comes hard. Partial lunar eclipse. There's a partial lunar eclipse tonight. It's now directly in my line of sight. It's guiding me, actually, in what I write, this lunar eclipse tonight. It's only a partial eclipse, you know, the kind where the moon continues to show. And there are other things you can know. There's a partial eclipse in the sky tonight, a lunar eclipse. Who knows why tonight? Because, well, I guess that I tonight feel that partial eclipse in the sky. It's magic that guided me here tonight. We wound up in bed, and it felt quite right. He was furry, I smooth, so we both took a bite of that partial lunar eclipse. I wish I could climb up there closer and see just what a partial eclipse can be. It lets light keep shining while shadows creep in. A consciousness kind of a thing, I think. Awareness while watching what darkness obscures. It's not the kind of a thing that endures, but a magical kind of a night tonight. A partially quite kind of lunarish sight. Now the trees block my view, so the moon's out of sight, that partially gone covered moon, though it's full. We have a partial lunar eclipse this long night, and it feels as if everything still is all right, because nothing's completely obscured. It's still bright. There's a partial lunar eclipse tonight, a partial eclipse of the moon. Fog. I love this fog. I love the way it hides things, makes them damp and too cold to be out and playing in. I can stay inside and read. I love the fog. I love how buildings have become part mist, part fantasy, part disappear, though mostly they're all far away and distant. The whole world just beyond myself becomes unreal. It vanishes. I love the way fog masks everything so lovingly and stays a veil that can't be lifted, hiding, shielding, keeping safe in shadedness its truth, which is translucence. One quick ray of light, the mask lifts, penetrated, undone. We came out to Montauk the year we realized my father had Alzheimer's, and we came out to Montauk, and it felt like sort of a time of mourning, even though he was here. It was Montauk, one. We get to mourn together here on this trip, this non-vacation by the sea, and listen as the slowly fading cache of words is swallowed up by the great silence that surrounds it. The ocean symphony so overwhelms us that tuning into any other music would just distract us now. So instead, we just immerse ourselves together in the endless succession of waves, pounding everything into oblivion. Montauk 2. What else can one do on a cloudy day like this one? Chilly when the winds whip scarf and wind and towel around in disarray, penetrating every layer with a searing coolness that bespeaks autumn soon to come? What else to do but heed the sound of waves drowned out beneath the wind now blowing hard that gathers rain up and disperses it? The wetness of the sea is everywhere now, encompassing us all. Montauk. Every day I rise to catch the sea at dawn, to let my sadness empty out on paper. Sometimes words flow easily. They might become a poem. Other times they're stifled, bottled up, unable to emerge, drowned out instead by crashing, watery noises of the sea's loud, giant tears. I think I'm missing one, but therapist advice. Stay in neutral, you say, with my feet facing forward, my head not turned back like a magnet or always attunes itself, guiding my eyes straight ahead, feeling grounded like trees, stretching branches that reach to beyond where they stand, yet still rest there connected, deep, true to the trunk of itself. I am still by command. Stay in neutral. I once had a car that was standard. A friend said that learning to shift was a godsend, not braking, but just easing down with the clutch as I choose new directions to take, to stop or to go, but to stay deep in neutral and find myself here in this place, holding steady, like birds on a wire, tightrope walkers in balance. I heed myself fathomless, towing this line. Santa Fe. There's no larger time than now to spread out all that aches in the cool clear of air that sits closer to God, Santa Fe. Here I hope, pray, and worship, lie sleepless among the dark shadows emerging to cleanse themselves here, Santa Fe. My eyes met as soon as we landed on others, reflecting deep brown pools of who I am back to me clearly. It's just the beginning now, driving to Sangre de Cristo, those mountains with snow on the top that sit dead ahead on my journey to Santa Fe. Peaks in my heart never scaled, yet I know that they stand there awaiting ascent. Okay. I always plan for too much, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to do that. Oh, wait a minute, these are the extras. Nothing, this is at a Zendo, okay? It was a wonderful place, and it was supposed to be writing. It was supposed to be a writing workshop, and I wanted to learn to write fiction, you know, I want to write a fiction. So I came to there, and beautiful, beautiful place, and you had to do your task. It was a Zendo, so you had a task, whether it was mopping the floor, the toilet, the kitchen duty, whatever. And I walked around, and I tried to write fiction, but poems kept coming out of me. Anyway, here's one of them. Nothing is lost here. The hours spent on bathroom cleaning aren't drudgery. They cleanse much more than toilets. And that chapstick that I took for lost has been returned. The energy I burned up climbing stairs that made me breathless when I first arrived now turns to strength. As sure and strong I mount them with focus and breathing intact, panting stopped. The weight of my room, such a mystery before, comes easily now, no longer lost. And frustrations for lacking the end to a thought is not for naught. It turns my anger to fuel as more words come out loud and shape themselves anew. And suddenly, my world is filled with relief. Once more, I write a poem. Oh. And this is along the lines of what Bubbie said. I don't think I wrote this, but I wrote it down. You know what I mean? It's called meditation channel. I'll just say that. And it was helpful advice. Find the vulnerable part of your soul and hold fast to it. Stay with the fear. Deny it not. Breathe into it. Let it become animated with life till it churns to a power within. Then breathe again, this time silent, deeper, inward, to contain the rush of strength pouring forth, to reduce it, to hone it. Grasp the scattered forces like a magnet. They are blown leaves in autumn. This is spring. They're now seeds from blossoms blown to the four corners by the wind. Own the energy. Keep it. It will find a place deep inside to take root, and slowly, over time, with wisdom and guidance, it will develop in the proper way to guide its truth to complete unfoldment. Your time is now. It is only to follow these dictates that ensures your success. Okay. You'd be happy with that. Oh, okay. Millennium of Loving, the name of one of my. I wear the disappointments on my face. They're aging me. The lines are deeper, plentiful. The gray hair is more profuse as I approach my own millennium of loving. It's been 100 times, it seems, that I've been crushed by my own expectations. At least 50 odd or so have been unspoken, mostly little slips of heart, like crashes that I suffer silently when passion fades or my mind says, quite enough, this isn't love. These days they take their toll, the weeks and months of loving, losing. Weighing it all out in the mirror, watching myself there, I see reflected aging, looking more like wisdom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Wow. We are in poetry heaven. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're in poetry heaven. And out there on Zoom land, you're in poetry heaven too, because you have Susan Dingle there. And Susan Dingle is one of the founders of Poetry Street, and we're going to ask Susan to read right now. Susan, if you can unmute and read for us, thanks.
Oh my goodness.
What do you think about this?
It's beautiful readings today. Thank you so much, Bubbie and Heidi and Tom. It's lovely. This is a new poem. It's called Flash Mobs. I spend the evening watching flash mobs in train stations, on basketball courts, multi-level shopping malls, dance, uptown funk you up, Ravel's Bolero, in a train station in Barcelona, flutes and violins played by passers-by. We are the world. In a bookstore in Sweden, we are the people. We are the flash mob, beginning at the waterfront when one kid spins on his elbows and leaps up as others dance. Funk you up. Drum sets march into the shopping mall, and a singer announces, we will rock you at IKEA. When salespeople at their stations start dancing, Mamma Mia, and shoppers drop their bags, they too dance like it is destiny. I am so happy we get to be human this way. Sing, dance, watch, smile, hold children on shoulders to see a cell phone to capture this moment no one expected, except the careful musicians who remembered their instruments. Oh, flash mobs, I am part of the moment too, even though it's years later on YouTube, and I am sitting in my library alone, watching Uptown Funk You Up. Don't believe me, just watch. Yes, there is joy in the world. Yes, there is love. Don't believe me, just watch.
Susan Dingle, one of the founders of Poetry Street. Don't you just love her? I absolutely do. Okay, so next we're going to stay in Zoom land, and we're going to ask Megan Dosh to please read. Megan.
This is called Flying. Passengers stream onto the plane, search for their places, heave luggage into overheads, lending hands to one another if they cannot reach. A tap on my shoulder, a voice asks if I want to swap seats, so I'll have more room for my guide dog. Seatbelts click together like thoughts. As we lift off, I wonder if the souls below ponder where we're headed, just like I wonder whether they're happy. We perch in this buzzing steel bird, filled with travelers on intersecting journeys, each navigating our own thoughts, worries, and hopes. We'll soon branch into endless directions, like autumn leaves scattered from the same tree. Yet we all will have breathed this air together, crammed into this small space. If I could look down, the cities, buildings, the people would appear smaller. If we could fly over our dreams, would perspective compress them as we cartwheel through the unpredictable air of life? As I fly over time zones, inhabiting hours I've already lived. I wish time would transform stones of fear into silky grains of sand. A throat clears, sandwich wrappers crinkle, mayonnaise and fumes join the sense of sweat and vinyl in the cabin. Stories surround me. A mother holding the magic wand of her soothing voice to her baby's ear. The man 2 seats down, voice tight with excitement and annoyance about his business trip. The quiet exhale of joy as a child notices my guide dog. I reach to the back of the seat in front of me, free my tray table, to rest my glass of water. Pull my backpack from under the seat in front. Slide my headphones over my ears. So much of what we need lives on the seat of the person in front of us. We never soar alone. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Megan. What a heartfelt experience, and thank you so much for sharing that with us. We're going to take one more from Zoomland, Vincent Calone.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So,
Vincent, tell us where you're from, first of all.
I'm from Lindenhurst, New York. Thank you.
All
coming
right.
Coming to you live from the coat closet.
Excellent. Excellent.
This is a poem that I wrote. It's for all women. It's a tribute to all women. It's called Clipped and Pinioned No More. Her wing, clipped and pinioned, yet she still soars like a bird. When everyone tells her no, she finds a way to answer yes. When the odds are stacked against her and everyone has her counted out, this is exactly the time she strikes. And when it's over, there's little doubt. She finds a way to do the impossible. To her, it's more like the probable, almost an expectation to her resolve. There's no problem she can't solve, no riddle she can't unravel, and no man is her equal. She's not waiting to write the sequel. She's already around the bend. Oh man, the places that she's traveled and the things that she knows. I'll let you in on a little secret though. It's fiction, made up all in her mind. Her wing broken and feckless, don't dare call her reckless when she takes to the skies. After all, fiction lies, and the truth unobscured is that she's still there on the floor, but her spirit is flying high. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. What a wonderful poem. We're going to come back here to the Riverhead Free Public Library located at 330 Court Street. And in the audience, we have Jen Schiff.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm still a little rusty, nervous. Chen sensed. This one's called In Town. The married man in his castle, Montauk at his feet, and his dog in bed. His dog is his mistress in the Montauk house. His spouse is in town. The Montauk house is as white as sea foam, his sweat as salty as the air. Saucy is his taste, his bark is a whimper, soft as the sparrows. He claws his back like a raven, but is a dove in public. Orders a martini with an olive branch to go. The dog sleeps in bed, hounded as a pet, succumbs to his master. The men bond and are bound. Their spouses sleep in town.
Thank you so much. I think you came here last month for the first time, and it's just so wonderful to have you back here again today. Okay. Bill Thatcher is one of my favorite people, not only because he lives in a wonderful place that I'm trying to get him, put me on his sleeve, but also, but Bill is a wonderful poet. Ladies and gentlemen, Bill Batcher.
I too have a chapbook, but I'll be reading from that next Friday at Conic Landing. But today I won't be reading from that. I have two leftovers from Thanksgiving to read. Similar poems, but they're both short. Thanks for nothing, for the silence of a snowy day, for the purity of rainwater, for the emptiness of a cloudless sky, for odor-free fresh air, for the smoothness of a polished stone, for a day without problems, fights, for a mind with no distractions. Thanks for nothing. Gratitude. I thank him for the big things like life and health and grace. And I thank him that I can still see enough to stare at hummingbirds, hear enough to notice gentle breezes, walk enough to meet my neighbors in the driveway and share their family photos. I thank him for food abundant on linen-draped tables set. And I thank him for the pungent smell of cinnamon, the unassertive taste of rice, a cup of water, cool and clear, and sufficient hunger to appreciate the simple foods. I thank him for prosperity and peace among the nations, and I thank him that my daughter spoke gently to her sister. The store cashier was friendly. The stranger smiled hello. I thank him.
Thank you, Bill. What a nice guy. I thank you for you, Bill. Now, I don't know if any of you or many of you have been on our website, Poetry Street on the Road, but you can find Bill Batcher, Bubbie Brown, and many other poets who featured previously on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com, in our video archive. This next poet is also in there, and she's amazing, Barbara Bronca.
Thank you for that. And do you realize we're all like BBs?
Yes.
Right? We're all BBs. So, and thank you for all those gratitude poems. And I'm not going to do one. I'm doing one. I'm going to do two. They're not very long, but let's go this way. Lacrimosa. Who do you cry for? The heroes, the antichrist, the mourners, the mourned, the protester, the protested, the detainee, the detested, the black, the barren bleak, the white, the withered weak, the merciful, the merciless, the looters, the looted, the opiated, the satiated, the compromisers, the compromised, swimmers in a river of tears, drowners in a river of blood, the royal blues, the bloodied reds, the violent, the violated, frontline workers, alleyway lurkers, the rhymers, the connivers, harbingers of spring, malingerers headed for a fall, the Hippocratic oath taker, the hypocrite, oath breaker, bad actors, redactors, doctors of spin, directors of sin, the liar, the led, the masked, the master, the angel, the avenger, the demonic, the deterred, the judge, the judged, the interrupted, the interred, the devoted, the demoted, the wage earners, the rage burners, the fertile, the futile, the ablated, the aborted, the outside agitators, the agitated insiders, the electorate, the protectorate, journalistas, buena vistas, follower of science, breaker of alliance, the riot geared, the riot seared, the peaceniks, the beatniks, the rightful indigenous, the righteously indignant, the conductor, the condensed, the composer, the decomposer, the upwardly mobile, the downtrodden, bread bakers, bread liners, tear-stained, tear-gassed executives, the executioners, dona nobis pacem, pacem, dona pacem. A short one. I think I've read it here before, but folk singer. He'd been gone a year now. She was cried out. Enough. Took his guitar down from that wall. They painted the color of his eyes. Gingerly, reverently, she held it to her breast. Sad at the dust clinging to the warm wood, clouding the mother of pearl inlay they'd watched a craftsman create. She slung the strap over her neck and oh so quietly let fingers find each string, high to low, remembering chords taught by Brother Pete along the Hudson, strummed years ago at peaceful candlelight vigil, upstate college campus to inner city Head Start, at that scary protest in DuPont Circle, in Jim Crow luncheonettes and laundrettes in Alabama, where that Okie from the Skokie yelled, "Get a haircut, you draft dodger." We were singing for freedom, justice, peace. What would he think now? What should we do? In her head, she heard him answer, "Sing louder! And please, get that thing tuned."
Thank you. I too would like to sing a song. What? Okay. There are 88 keys on the piano, and none of them are mine. I would like to sing a song, but I will not. Instead, I will introduce Judy J.R. Turek as our next poet on display. Judy J.R. Turek.
Thank you.
My friend.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Bubbie. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Maggie. And all the open. What a great day. So I'm missing summer a lot. And it's a nice day today. So this is in the voice of summer, titled Ode to Autumn. Follow me. It can be no other way. Hands held, clasped in autumnal equinox, I bow to you. Pass the scepter of seasons, fall at your knees to rise again in June, rested, ready to bloom, ready to wake the sleeping frog song, bird song, and stilled porch swing. I've grown old birthing roses, rearing cucumbers, ripening tomatoes, my long days of haze and sun, parched skin, perfumed with citronella, and chlorine-laced coconut oil have burned me out. My languid nights of humming air conditioners have tired me, wearied my need to outshine spring, to rival winter. Lawn angels pelted with ice baseballs of snow, to relinquish my place to you, autumn. I forever lead for you to follow. Unclasp my hand, take your rightful place as I sleep the sleep of dream-filled seasons, to wake on the longest day, my day to take my place, my day to shine my glory until we clasp hands again. Thank you.
Thank you so much, JR. You know, I love JR Church so much. She's amazing. And someone else is amazing. TA Now is amazing. He lives down there in New Mexico. TA, are you on board with us today?
I guess I am up.
Okay,
I guess I'm up next, huh, Chip?
Tell us about TA's expression and all the work you're doing before you get started.
Thank you, Chip. Well, I'm really glad that Bill brought up hunger, because that's what I'm about until after December 17th. I'll put some information in the chat about the art auction to alleviate hunger. I hope some of you will be in attendance and maybe even contribute to that effort. Anyway, so in that vein, the piece I intend to read is called Food for Thought and Action. I was thirsty. I picked up the 14-ounce carton filled with letters of the alphabet, squeezed open the top, raised it to my lips, tilted my head back, felt the letters hit my tongue, tumbled to the back of my throat, but I couldn't swallow. My thirst went unquenched. I was hungry. With anxious anticipation, I unwrapped the bulky paper package bulging with nutritious verses. There they were, all those delicious lines, some stacked neatly, others as though tossed in as afterthoughts. But all were organic, pesticide-free, cage-free, and guaranteed to meet the daily requirements. I took a verse between my thumb and forefinger, multiple lines dangling like ropa vieja or strips of Kobe. I held it up, tilted my head back again, mouth gaping, saliva tingling, and chomped a healthy chunk. My jaws worked, my teeth sawed and gnashed, but again, my throat rebelled. Still thirsty, still hungry. It came to me that maybe I could satisfy both thirst and hunger with a soup of sonnets. I had a can left from my last trip to the food bank. Some kind whole soul had included it in the scrumptious box of thoughts and ideas they had donated. I knew it had at least 14 of the essential nutrients required daily, and it was liquid after all. It wasn't easy opening the can with no can opener, though. But I was desperate. I used the sharpest wit I could find in the drawer of my rapidly dulling mind and pried it open somehow. In this haze of hunger, this trauma of thirst, I couldn't tell you how I got it open, but open it I did. I poured the contents into the bowl of my consciousness, and not having a spoon, I stirred it with my dirty forefinger. I've heard somewhere that what doesn't kill will fatten. I lifted the earthy brown bowl to my lips, intending to savor each line of sonnet, to let the inner ache be soothed as each carefully crafted syllable slid into my cavernous emptiness. But that too was not to be. Wonderful words and volumes of verses were here upon my table. Yet my ungrateful belly only growls. Thanks for listening, folks. And,
wow, that was pretty amazing. Thank you so much, TA. Appreciate that. So
Thank
next
you,
we're going to
Chip.
come here in the River Here Free Library. You're welcome. And we're going to ask Nina Yabel to come up and read for us. Nina Yabel is on our film, Poetry Street on the Road, the film. And that's found on poetrystreetontheroad.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Nina Yabel.
Thank you, Chip, and thank you, everybody, for being here. Wonderful poetry today. I say there's wonderful poetry today, and thank you all, and thank you, Chip. And I'm missing that either much. So a dear friend of mine passed away on November 17th, about 10 years ago, and I read this poem at her memorial service. It's called For Pat, Fishing. Dear friend, this morning at dawn, you gave up the long struggle, your body tired, your mind ravaged. Turning from this grief, I remembered your feisty stance, the embrace of laughter, the light of our younger days, like that day of fishing we had on a black, steaming lake, a morning of sausages and eggs, buttered English muffins, orange juice, sticks with pulp, and how we hooked those worms, those wriggling worms, clear through, defying death as if we knew what would come of our hope. The feel of the rod tilting straight down pulled like a 20-pound bass on the line. But all we caught were spiny little sunfish who twitched and danced for their lives. I can feel that summer day, scent of honeysuckle, how you curved your steady hand so carefully around one of them and pulled the hook from her throat like a surgeon, leaving no scar, placed her precisely into the lake. She shook off your touch and plunged into the depths whole again. We laughed, anxious for bigger game. Our muddied fingers pulled more worms from their tangles in the tin can. Day drifted to evening. The sun moved below mountains and lake, edge of sky. We threw the worms to phantom fish, folded up our rods, careful to secure the hooks, and walked back amid the ghostly trees, croaking frogs, safe in the womb of night. There was nothing left to catch but moonlight.
Safe in the moon of night. Wow, what a line. Thank you so much for that. In Zoom land, and we want her to read. Where is her?
Yes, hello.
Hey,
And
how you doing?
Okay. All right. Thanksgiving haiku. Morning. Maple leaves glow, flaming cranberry red from Thanksgiving sun. No escape. November 26, 1972. The silver sun is retiring to a gray cloud mattress. Today has been windy. Whirling brown, red, and yellow leaves fly like ghosts. The trees are too naked to stop the wind from making them or me shiver. Black leaves lie on the ground like shreds of a dead widow's shawl. A pine barren's pond mirrors the gray sky. November's colors have claimed the town. November's empires, black, brown, gray, red, and yellow emblems appear in the clothes I wear. Black boots, a brown coat and pair of pants, a gray sweater, and a red and yellow striped flannel shirt. I've drifted here to forget my melodramatic adolescent dilemma. However, brown-eyed November roars, remember. I remember that tomorrow I must choose between two beautiful, brown-eyed 18-year-old women. As a passionate 19-year-old boy, I want both, but they both said, choose. After some wind-blown devil's dance wandering, I return to the pond and stare. I almost expect a sprite or wizard to appear magically with an answer to my problem. Finally, I sit, close my eyes, and try to relax. The wind pushes pond waves that slap the shore. Suddenly, I hear ducks quacking. Opening my eyes, I notice two. One chases the other in the air around the pond. I wonder what's wrong. Then I notice a third bland bird in the water. I realize that the one swimming serenely is a female and the flying fighting ducks are males. Any respite from my hormonal headache has flown away. While rising to walk home, I whisper, no escape from nature, in nature. Damn it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Herb. You're always so much fun. Ladies and gentlemen, next we have Gladys Henderson, and she's one of our mothers of Poetry Street. Gladys Henderson.
Thanks so much. Wow, what a great day. What a wonderful reading. I'm so happy to be here with you all and so that we can enjoy each other once more. I'm reading a poem that is quite old, and I found it, but I don't think I've ever read it. Reading the Signs. Master wind, this late September morning, it tears at branches with a rage that threatens even fishermen have decided to remain ashore. Their skiffs, like balsa wood toys, easily blown off course to founder in the coils of the angry snake the lake has become this morning. I listened for the loons last night. Not one made his call, nor did the female with her reassuring refrain confirm they were not lost to each other. But why so early that I have missed their comforting presence? They have left. In this, my 80th year, I have not been able to hear them. The mallards, too, have started their journey. Only a few are left. One cried outside our cabin half the night, perhaps lonely, perhaps a Rip Van Winkle that has awakened, and all his life has changed with a journey ahead of him that he might need to fly alone. The leaves have started to change. Colors have started to change colors. Swamp maples, flaming red, the rest of the woods, variations of chartreuse. Soon they will break into their own distinctive colors. Once again, they enter the great wheel, and I along with them, a mandala spinning so quickly you can hear the voice of the Creator showing the way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gladys. And
thank you.
Really appreciate you. Next, we are going You're welcome. You're welcome. Next, we're going to ask Dee Dee Spungen to please read. Dee Dee, tell us about your new book, your newest book.
Well, my only book, Chip.
Well, there you have it.
Nothing new, but before I say anything, I just want to thank Bubbie, Tom, and Heidi for a wonderful reading. And the open mic has been sensational. Thank you. The book, Tomorrow Smells Invisible, I usually have a copy here, but came out in 2020 when a lot of us put out books to an empty audience. And tell you the truth, I hope to be putting out another book. We all suffered a lot of losses, and I found myself writing a lot of poems about people who I've lost, and I'm thinking of putting something together, but that is all I want to say about that. I would like to read a poem called Sunday Morning Chill. It's a beautiful Saturday today, and I wrote this a few years ago, but here goes. Once more, the universe has granted my wish. I wake up breathing, still alive, able to get out of bed, walk downstairs, make the tea that begins my everyday. November Sunday morning, cold as winter, reminding my fingers to crack and bleed, remembering me to move my mood to an icier clime. A day to straighten thoughts, drawers, closets, stay indoors, become a useful recluse. This winter Sunday morning, not yet winter, not even holiday time, but that fast approaching, and yesterday was summer. There is a dream of chocolate pudding, a time of running unafraid, a time of silken hair and clear eyes, dwelling in distant memories. I leave the bed and bypass the mirror, head straight for the teapot. The quiet kitchen hums a gentle tune recalled from long ago, when my name felt right, and I asked no questions. Now the clock reminds me to dig for answers. Someone may be waiting for the age-ripened wisdom I must pretend is mine. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that. And we're going to come here to the Riverhead Public Library and ask Selena to please come up and read. There's no Selena? Oh, okay, no problem. There is a Selena. She's sitting way in the back, just lounging around, enjoying the poetry. All right, come on over here. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so where am I looking? Right here? Or? Oh, down there? Okay. This poem, thank you everyone for sharing. This poem is called Thoughts on the Season. We are all connected to every season, the stillness, the changing, the unfolding of air and light. We change, we ignore, we stand in awe, we stand still, we move within it. We absorb, we breathe, we quiet. That rising and falling brings us to itself, where we stay, where we move, where we become the motion of the universe, part to part attaching and removing, evaporated, moving again, dying again, falling from seed to push through the sun. Nature. Nature is green noise, brown noise, white noise. Sky is blue noise and dark noise and still noise and lark noise. My feet make noise, run noise, walk noise. My eyes make no noise. My ears believe noise. This is the last one. This is called the waiting room. In the waiting room is quiet. Palms are sweating, body melting. You should remember always you are a lady. Don't act crazy. Waiting. Don't be a crazy lady. When you were a girl, was it your sis, your father, your mother, or another who told you to keep it zipped? Your sister, you're a daughter, your kid, you're a kid. Keep quiet. Keep a stiff upper lip. You're a lady. Be quiet, baby. And now you're waiting to live. And now you're waiting, blood thick, in the waiting room. Are you patient now as you sit, wondering if there's a trick to hide the scream you hid? When you're a lady and you're doing something dirty, your guts wrenching, hands sweating, do you see other women walking past you, being ladies, as the hinge opens, the door shuts?
Thank you. Thank you so much, and please come back. Yeah, Poetry Street is a room without a roof where every voice is heard, and the next voice you're going to hear is Emelina Jones from Cleveland, Ohio, the Ambassador of Peace. Emelina Jones.
Thank you for having me. Let me feed you his word that ye may drink of faith and endure until thy kingdom come. Keepeth thou prayer on thy lips. Keepeth thou care in thy heart. Giveth thee others a helping hand. Keepeth thou love for thy light. Keepeth thy Lord for thy guide. Helpeth the others to understand. Amen. Kumbaya, my Lord. Kumbaya. Come by here, my Lord. Come by here. Kumbaya, my Lord. Oh, kumbaya. Oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's crying, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's lonely, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's praying, Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's hopeful, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's grateful, Lord. Kumbaya. Someone's hoping, Lord. Kumbaya. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord. Kumbaya. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. What a sweet spirit you have.
Thank you so much.
This poem is called Routine, a poem of love, loss, and life. As I stand alone with my dreadful thoughts of living without your love in my life, I ask myself, from where will the strength come, and will the emptiness in my heart heal? Loudly in my soul, your breath echoes.
Still.
Perfectly your beautiful body lies, lifeless, colorless. I bear not to hold the mortal who has been my true love. A motionless moment lasts many hours, standing, looking intensely at your face, conversing as though you would answer me, making promises, asking forgiveness. Relentless to God, I plead my case, but only silence there enters this place. Thank you. All right, so I don't have any more. So we're going to come back to hear our my mentor, someone that I look up to every day of the week, because he's such a good man, beautiful man, Robert A. Bubbie Brown.
This is for you, Chip. You like the river.
Yeah.
The river.
Yeah.
My children are all grown up now. Each one going their own way. Well, they call sometimes when I cross their minds, or just to see if I'm okay. The miles and miles that my life has traversed have been long, oh, so long. Some smooth, some bumpy, some flat, some lumpy. I made some right turns and some wrong. Yes, it's been a very long journey with some more miles to go. Not quite so fast as those in the past, but you see more when going slow. Slower than slow my steps may be, but I'm doing the best that I can. And I hope you see that you get to be as old and slow as I am. Reflections parade through my memory as you're going through your life's tasks. I could show you some breaks to avoid some mistakes, but you never, ever asked. Yet I don't need looks of pity from you folk of a lesser age. Don't overlook that I've read the whole book and you're still on the very first page. I thank my Heavenly Father for each moment of every year. The joys, the frowns, the ups, the downs, each one has been precious and dear. So you just try to look upon me as that river that flows and flows, and you're just a stream whose hope and dream is to get to go where the river goes. Colin Kaepernick. I had to pay so dearly. Didn't take you very long to rob from me my successful life, and all of you were wrong. I told you time and time again, but you refused to see. You twisted, lied, demeaned the reason I got down on one knee. How many folk who resemble me before, during, and after arrest suffered policemen the brutal ways and sent to eternal rest? My kneeling said it had to stop, the violence you chose to ignore, because there was no public outcry for the license to do it some more. My protest tossed me my life's work, my chosen gifted career, but it laid bare American hypocrisy. Stop it, get him out of here. Had there been a public outcry, a chance to maybe save a few more people crying out, voices from the grave, maybe George Floyd could have caught his breath. Sandra Bland had a story to tell. The hypocrites didn't want her to say what really happened in that cell. Trayvon Martin and Freddie Gray, Breonna Taylor, Michael Brown, victims of American hypocrisy in many American towns. In the paragraph of this era, Mr. Kaepernick wrote the first sentence and hope it raises questions in us of Americans' repentance. Colin will never ever regain what he lost over all this time. The pity is he paid a penalty and never committed a crime. Be careful when choosing your allies. Errors sometimes cause us to grieve. The truth will always be the truth, not necessarily what you believe. And this last piece is probably the oldest one that I did today, from the middle 80s. This poem is written and dedicated to that endangered species, the African-American male, who has given his life in wars for this land in disproportionate numbers, who was incarcerated in the prisons of this land in disproportionate numbers, and who is imprisoned in his mind by illegal controlled substances in this land in disproportionate numbers. It's entitled, It's Time. It's Time. The time for revenge and blame is long past. Let's look to the future anew. God has led us safely thus far. Now it's time to do our just due. It's time for my young brothers to stand tall with pride and grace and be a living hero to some small child of this proud race. At times, standing tall can be a problem. When the fashion plate decrees, it's cool to shuffle with your hands in your pockets and your pants down to your knees. It's time for somebody's daddy to take that child in hand and explain that the teenage part of life is basic training to being a man. It's time to get educated. Forget TV, pick up a book, and then go outside and practice your dribble and your running fadeaway hook. I know we're athletically inclined, fine-tuned when properly trained, but those muscles fade like a summer sun, so you better fine-tune your brain. It's time, my brother, to sit back and take stock of the precious gems and jewels that we have in our jewelry box. I'm not talking about rubies or diamonds, pearls, or precious others. I'm talking wives, sisters, daughters, nieces, girlfriends, but most of all, our mothers. They are the backbone of this heritage, worth more than a king's ransom in coins. And we, the male gender of this race, are mere droppings from their loins. It's time to tell the media, I am not the person that they portray. From digging ditches to chairman of the board, I work each and every day. It's time to tell America, we're not all rapists, hoodlums, and thugs. We're not all wife and child abusers, and we're not all pushing drugs. Question. Billions are made from that illegal trade, a fact well understood. But tell me, are there any millionaire dealers in your neighborhood? It's time to look to the future, for the future lies ahead. Only look back to check your references or pay homage to your dead. It's time for love, my brother. For love, my brother, it's time. Love, love, everlasting love. Love of me and love of mine. It's time. It's time.
It's time to tell the truth, and the truth has not been told like it has been told today so clearly in this room and on Zoom. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Tom.
Okay, thank you. Once again, I have to follow that brilliance. But it truly is a pleasure hearing your poetry and being there with you. That it's your poetry is very inspiring and extraordinarily well delivered. So thank you. Okay, so my poem, Early Fall. As I chugged along on that cool morning, ahead in the shadows near the road, a young deer looked at me. No fear, just caution in her eyes when she flashed to the other side and into the woods. I know it was a she. Her small baby darted after her, both disappearing as suddenly as each had appeared. The road was quiet, the deer peaceful, making their way to another meal. No roaring predator casting headlights into their eyes. I am just a walker going into town, pleased to see them alive and well.
Mm-hmm. One song? Oh, another one? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. So,
Another one, short one. Plover Beach. Running, running. Scurry, scurry. Look at Sam, peck. Run, run. This way, that way. Tiny legs, a blur. Fast, faster than larger birds. Where's my mate? Where are my chicks? Run, fly away. Seeking.
Wonderful job. Thank you so much, Tom. And now we're going to get the other half of your household, Heidi Rain.
I used to go to poetry readings very occasionally in Manhattan, mostly stick to Brooklyn, but there was one reading that's closed now called Cornelia Street Cafe. And it was, I went there once and, so, great tour. It took me 3 or 4 times to go there before I even dared to go near the open. I mean, the poets were so, blew my mind. But as I was sitting there, there was a woman like sort of right in front of me to the right. And I don't know, I wrote this poem. The back of your neck. The back of your neck is so young. It shines among all of our aspects of you that reveal your age, suffering, and history of long held in sadness, finally emerging to see light of day. And it heals there, the sadness. Light is the healer. The light to which we bring all our pain, disclosing our darkness. And your neck, the back of it, holds its own virginal secrets, disguised by your graying hairs, no whitened, held high, tight by hairpins against the lacy blackness of sloped, sweatered shoulders, a little tinted at by the dangling anachronism earrings, which hang now from lengthening, mute, weathered lobes. Next to that neck, colorless hair upswept, breathing young as that part of yourself, never aging, hidden from light for so long, it was stranded somewhere so far away, time had no meaning, holding that you part, still open to yearning. And the best part of this poem was I showed it to my friend. And he said, "Who? What?" I said, "Over there." And he said, "That's Laura O'Brien." I didn't know who he said. He said, "Don't you know her? She's a really good poet, right?" And she was rather elderly, and she did die. I never really know her. So many poets in Manhattan. It's like a subway, But my co-host did, Bob Balo, and he said, "I'm going to her memorial. May I read your poem?" And I just felt so honored by that. And I'll also do a really quick one. Empty again, as the title. Empty again. I'm empty again. Clarity awaits me. The sky's not clear. Small clouds dot its surface. Yet blue skies sit just beyond on this cool and hazy day. And I feel the resurgence of a deepened breathing, easy flow, just like the wind that sharply blows, dispelling any stillness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heidi. Thank you so much, Tom, and thank you so much, Bubbie. And thank you all for joining us at Poetry Street on Zoom Link. I would like to thank everyone here at the library, especially the staff here. They're very accommodating here at the Riverhead Free Public Library. Next month, we're not going to have Poetry Street because it's Christmas. So we're going to see you again in January. Thank you all so much for coming here and being a part of Poetry Street. I really need you. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your year.
Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Heidi. Thanks to all the poets.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks to Susan, because without her and Bubbie, we wouldn't all be sitting here. So thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you, JRSCA, for getting the word out there. You guys do an incredible job, and we wouldn't have this audience if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you.